Hello and welcome to the Peregrine podcast, the show that shows you the harrowing, disturbing, and sometimes filthy dark underworld of the insurance game. Prepare to be shocked, prepare to be stunned, prepare to ask yourself, why isn't there a gripping fly-on-the-wall documentary about all this stuff? Well, I've asked myself that very same shitting question. Let's be honest, it'd probably be a bit too hardcore for TV, wouldn't it? You know, it'd have to be post-Watershed and before Babe Station. So who am I as your guide through this minefield of debauchery, debacles, and declining claims? I am Nigel Peregrine, Maverick Loss Adjuster, Insurance Juggernaut, Professional Bastard. So what's been going on? Well, still dealing with all that bastard COVID, ain't we? Shitterbrit Lockdown 2.0. You know me, I don't talk politics, but more U-turns than a dino-rod camera, if you know what I mean. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. And remember to follow the rules, all the slogans and the tiers that were relevant to your postcode, so that you're only eating out as long as you wore a mask, and you didn't go with anyone you would normally socialise with unless it was a pub with no shitting roof, but you could of course catch a bus and sit next to strangers, but for shit's sake don't sit anywhere near your nan. And if you do sit with others in the middle of a pissing field, freezing your bullocks off, make sure there are no more than 6 of you, unless you're a professional footballer. But you can wander the aisles of a shitty Morrison's amongst pissing mouth-breathing strangers who are trying to look for shitting ingredients for their Tuesday night shitting tagine. Look, I know a lockdown isn't great, but it's easier to understand than all of those different rules, ain't it? I mean, who writes all those rules anyway? Probably pissing underwriters. But still, many people have been feeling frustrated and wanting to live their lives and go to gatherings, ain't they? I'm not condoning any of that, but you can understand people going stir crazy and wanting to let off a bit of steam. I'm the same. Even I had to let my hair down at a popular rave. I say popular. I was the only one there. And I say rave. It was the best of White Snake in my kitchen on a Tuesday night. But apparently that warranted a noise complaint from the neighbours because their feral children couldn't get to sleep. I mean, it's not been easy trying to abide by the different tier rules at different visits in different locations. The other day I was visiting the property and I met this rather large policyholder and his large wife, and I realised that with them pair and my large, somewhat relaxed muscular physique, we had the combined weight of S-Club shit in 7. We were breaking the rule of 6 and I had to leave urgently. I mean, he said that's not how it works. I said, all right, fella, who are you? Dominic Cummings. I then explained how I'd be directing the case to Special Investigator. Not that I think there's anything dodgy going on, but I know the investigator had a point and he's only a little fella. So, more likely to have a combined weight of Duran, therefore no longer breaking the rule of 6, see? Which isn't something new, by the way. The Loss Adjuster game has had the rule of 6 for shit in years. Means something a bit different. Namely, it's a rule about trying to piss off 6 insurance brokers a week. It's a good indicator that you're doing your job properly, then, you see. But then they announced that hands, face, space business, didn't they? And that's another one we've been using for years. I mean, hands. Check the policyholder's hands for any hidden estimates. Face. Up to the fact that this is the career you pissing fell into, and you never realised how deep into the dark cave of festering cynicism it was possible to venture, thanks to the sheer volume of opportunistic, piss-taking bastards. Space. Keep out of spitting range. You don't want to be wiping gob juice off your freshly dry-cleaned Matalan special. And with all these restrictions, it's still proving difficult for many people who are working at home. Take, for instance, my colleague, bloody good adjuster, Kenny Manjuice, who has been struggling. Thoughts to Kenny, mainly his issue is that now his wife's always home. He can't secretly walk around the house wearing her underwear. I would like to send my congratulations to my colleagues Dean Barrow in finance and Kaylee Trench, also in finance, on the birth of their child. Their happy news raises another thing to think about during recent months. Please spare a thought for those who would normally engage in affairs with people at work and sneak off to the disabled toilet for a quick, shall we say, commercial union. And then because of a certain part of your anatomy not being covered, Dean, you end up with hard leakage and then a general accident. So I hope Mrs. Barrow is understanding. There's simply an act of God. It was completely unforeseeable because you thought Kaylee was on the pill. And I hope it was nice meeting your illegitimate child over Zoom. Hello to Mrs. Barrow, who's a fan of the show, and also to Kaylee's old man, Big Duncan, the CFO at Declan E. Blunder. When I do return to the office of Declan E. Blunder, I just hope my shitting dumbbells and chest expander are still there. What else? Oh yeah, we had the virtual London Marathon, didn't we? Yeah. I did it. I did it. I know it's impressive. I know. Took me shitting ages. But that's Google Street View and an AOL dial-up connection for you. Have you seen the trailer for the Loss Adjuster film? Disappointingly inaccurate, to say the least. Yeah, there's a film out in December. They make out like this Loss Adjuster's pretty pathetic, when in fact all Loss Adjusters are considered to be the alphas amongst alphas. And the trailer shows him losing his missus. I mean, okay, that does happen. You know, you can lose your missus. My Belinda ran off with a loss assessor called Oliver Beardlove. This bloke gets in the film gets a parking ticket. Not true, because adjusters are considered an emergency service. We can park anywhere we shitting like. Well, that's what I think anyway. And then he gives his suit away. Bollocks. An adjuster gives shit all away. Why the bollocks would he give his bloody Matalan special suit away? It's different to losing your suit, because that can happen. My colleague Larry Torso, bloody good adjuster, lost his suit when the policyholder's husband was walking up the driveway. Larry had to make a quick exit out the bedroom window at the rear elevation, wearing nothing but a hand towel. Larry insisted it was worth it though, because although the policyholder was underinsured, he reckons that she was still above average. I just think this film paints us in a bad, somewhat weak and pathetic light. Doesn't highlight the everyday danger and volatile scenarios that we find ourselves in. I mean, if anything, Liam Neeson was closest to an adjuster in that film Taken. Of course, for a loss adjuster, instead of his daughter being taken, the only thing being taken is the piss. Now, before we dive into the Peregrine tale today, we need a word from our sponsor. And today's episode is brought to you in association with Declan E. Blunder Loss Adjusters, where professionalism is at the heart of everything we shitty do. And for this month, we're offering an underinsurance special offer where we can overvalue the contents on a policy, so that the policyholder's classed as being underinsured, resulting in lower payouts for insurers, saving the insurer an average of £23 per claim. Every little helps. Yeah, I can't say that. Can I? It's Tesco. Cut that bit out. Just quote the simple, easy-to-remember phrase: sums insured over value at risk multiplied by loss when you send details through to Declan E. Blunder. I've got to say it again. Declan E. Blunder, where professionalism is at the heart of everything we shitty do. Right. So on to today's Peregrine tale. Now, on a number of occasions I've been contacted on the LinkedIn or the Facebook by someone wanting some advice on how to get into the game. What was my story? How did I train in this game? I tell them the same thing. Run! Run! While you still can. Shit in run. But seriously, I'm old school. I mean, I've been up to my neck in fetid insurance for pissing years. And what my generation went through is a world away from today. I mean, we're a dying breed. Literally, the job is killing us. But when you look at the likes of me, Rigger Jones, and the rest of our generation, and compare them with the youngsters of today in their Moss Bros suits with bronzer and threaded bloody eyebrows, you realise how times have changed. And we're probably out of touch old dinosaurs now. But, you know, then again, these youngsters would probably cry along with the customers' crocodile tears. And then need counselling, whereas Rigger or I would just look on, light a fag, and tell them we'll confirm the declinature in writing, by text. So I'm going to give you an insight into how I train to be the professional bastard I am today in today's Peregrine tale, which is called Laser. Hello. As a beacon of light and inspiration, I often get asked about how I got into the game. What's my unique story? And can I offer any advice to those who want to get into adjusting? You're going to ask yourself if you're up to it, to be a real adjuster, a true, ferocious, indemnifying bastard, you've got to step into the elite level of human capabilities. You've got to have that blend of physical, mental, and intuition, and develop a mindset built on the foundation of extreme belligerence and cynicism. So what's my story? Did I always want to be in the game? Well, few people grow up wanting to be in the insurance game. Like many adjusters, I found myself at an early age getting into a lot of trouble with the police, always fighting, and on one occasion, after a few beers and a good scrap, I was nicked by the Morris dancers. Now, whilst I was in the cell, I was visited by a man. That man wore a brown suit. He had large sideburns and a swagger that told me he was no solicitor. He was Harry Strapping Tarts. And he said, son, you've got some natural attributes that could come in handy in a secret, often misunderstood trade. He then asked me about whether I'd like to get into loss adjusting. Now, of course, I didn't know what that was. I wasn't sure if he was actually trying to groom me, Fortunately, he explained, it's essentially another special force with a unique set of skills. I said, what sort of special skills? He said, imagine the elite fighting forces were a bit of adding up, a bit of taking away, sometimes a bit of division thrown in. I was intrigued. I wanted to know more. I agreed to step away from the violent life of petty crime and step towards the violent life of loss adjusting. I was now a trainee adjuster for knucker dust and shank loss adjusters, but my training was not to be on the job. Oh no. I was sent off to a special training centre. Now, I can't say too much about it because I signed some paperwork and I could get bundled into the back of a van. But there was actually a documentary recorded about it in the 80s while I was there. And you can have a listen to it now.
When you make an insurance claim on your home or business, often you will get a visit from a man in a sharp suit with an air of confidence and a glint in his eye. You may think this was just a regular man doing a regular job in a regular boring industry. But you'd be wrong. Tonight on Inside Weekly, we give you an insider's view of the dark underworld of the insurance industry, the elite level of skills that these insurance specialists possess, and we've been granted limited access to the training ground of apprentice adjusters.
Very few men are able to survive this test. Much of what we do is secret and cannot be shown. What you will see are the things that make us different, that makes us the best, that ultimately sets us apart from the rest.
Now, I'm here in a very secret, windy location in the Herefordshire countryside, where new apprentice loss adjusters gather at Laser. That's the loss adjusting school of exceptional reserving.
Right, get in here, listen in here now, you sweaty bag of tits. Look at you, pathetic, the lot of you. You hear that now? We're chopping down trees for you lot to carry later on. You think we're joking? What are you laughing at? You think it's funny, man? Give me a number. Give me a number, man. You're taking the piss. Give me a number. Get out. We'll take no nonsense here. You're all here because you think you're elite human beings capable of being adjusters. Don't you? Let's be clear. To be an adjuster, it takes determination, intelligence, sexual prowess, endurance, and of course, a strong liver. You will be trained. You will be tested. And if you do not perform to the kind of level we expect, you will be out on your ear. Most of you will fail. What's the matter with you? What are you crying for, man? What are you crying for, man? We'll have no crying here. Get out, give me a number. Give me that. Unbelievable. They out. There's no place for crying here. The adjuster does not cry. The adjuster only feels two emotions. And that is rage or disdain. Right. Now the test begins now. With an 8-mile run, whilst digesting a commercial policy wording from Norwich Union. You must complete the run in 23 minutes and then sit a 2-hour exam on the wording. And if you fail either, you'll be out. We'll take no pissing about here. Right, off you go.
These young men look anxious, and we're going to follow the story of one recruit, one of the youngest members of the cohort, at just 19 years old, number 43, Nigel Peregrine. Nigel, what attracted you to the prospect of loss adjusting as a profession?
I was approached by Harry Strappingtar, an adjuster from Knuckle Dust and Shank, loss adjusters. He said I'd be a natural at this, so here I am.
Are you feeling unwell? Sounds like you've got a bad throat.
No, this is my voice saying it. No, I've always talked like this. Started shaving when I was 9. The high testosterone, apparently.
Are you nervous?
Am I bollocks? How hard could it be?
The training staff, known as DS, which stands for Decliniture Sergeant, have been in the insurance industry for many years. Between them, there's over 80 years' service, dealing with a wide range of loss adjusting from residential properties, businesses, subsidence, and construction and plant. There's not much that these men haven't seen. They've lived the rigor of fighting on the front line of insurance. It is evident that this tough line of work attracts the same sort of characters.
And most of the guys all come from the same sort of background, working class families, largest families, wearing hand-me-downs, from the brother to the younger brother and all the rest of it. So most of the guys are from that type of background, hard, working class background.
When you're scrutinised by a training wing instructor, he will be able to tell in a short period of time, because of the severe stress you put under, what kind of a character, what kind of a personality you possess. And selection is very good at identifying that area of a person's build-up.
The training is very rigorous and tough. A strong body is essential for a loss adjuster, especially so when they have to assess a storm-damaged roof without use of a ladder. There are runs every day and a regular stint on the assault course.
Danger! Right, right, go! Go, right, right! Push that body, boy! 2, 1, 1! Get it! Get off it!
On one occasion, whilst filming, number 43 completed the assault course whilst carrying one of the injured candidates, number 7, Spotty Norris Dayglow, who had sprained an ankle After a visit to the nurse's office, it was discovered that number 43 had actually dislocated his spleen. Despite this, and against all odds, number 43 still broke past speed records.
Yeah, I just did it. I didn't really think about it, I just did it. Just came natural,
And how's your spleen?
It's all right, I was waiting outside the nurse's room for ages. That number 15, Jones, Rigger Jones, he was in there for ages with the nurse. Sounded serious, lots of moaning and groaning going on. So, yeah, don't know what's going on there.
Despite Nigel's physical endurance, this sort of training is a shock to many who have come from various areas of Civvy Street. Bakers, electricians, and general office workers taking their first steps into loss adjusting. And most are unprepared for the challenges ahead.
Push forward, come on! Lift your feet! Come on! Get up!
Bend the knees, not the back. Bend your knees, not your back. Bend your shagging knees! Listen to me! You're bending your back twice as much as you're bending your knees. Now bend your shagging knees!
The candidates are also trained in extreme evasive driving.
Driving is a very important skill. Maybe you need to chase after a frauderizer. Maybe you need to evade the police. But it's by driving like a twat, often dangerously with complete disregard to the safety of other road users, that will ensure that you get to do as many as 3 visits in a single day.
The peril rooms test the future adjuster's determination, speed, accuracy, and fighting skills. Rooms set up that are completely pitch black. Inside are simulated losses, such as escapes of water in a kitchen, fire damage to a process plant, or theft damage to a shop. The apprentice adjusters are tasked with storming the rooms with a flashbang grenade, and in an instant have to recognize the damage and estimate the value of the claim as quickly as possible. Sometimes there's someone waiting to attack. Dressed in riot gear, these individuals represent loss assessors, individuals whose job is to increase the value of the claim as much as possible on behalf of the customer and get a percentage of the settlement figure. These are the sworn enemy of the loss adjuster, often using unscrupulous and deceitful means which can actually do more harm to the policyholder's future premiums. Number 18 has been removed from the process after curling up in a ball and being beaten by the assessor. He is deemed unable to defend himself, the honour of the Brotherhood, and the overall costs of claims. Number 43, Nigel, seemed to enjoy this phase, perhaps a little too much.
Yeah, so the flashbang went off. It turns out it was a shop that had been broken into, a little bit of arson. So I managed to calculate the glazing costs, the stock damage, the fire damage, the water damage, and the business interruption to be in total combined, roughly in the region, roughly speaking, about £19,542.18. And the DS told me that was pretty spot on. Of course, I was also being attacked by a loss assessing bastard who I quickly managed to disarm with a strike to the clavicle. Shut up. A strike to the clavicle and a kick in the bollocks.
I understand that you were involved in an altercation afterwards as well.
Yeah, well, I went out the back and I saw another loss assessor in riot gear, so I gave him a bloody good hiding and all. It turns out that they're not actually loss assessors, they're some special forces blokes dressed up in riot gear. So, yeah, never mind. They'll be, they can share the ambulance to A&E, can't they? So, every cloud.
I've seen lesser insurance professionals get locked in cupboards, held captive until they agree to deal with a claim. Often, policyholders or their representatives will try intimidation, and yes, sometimes things do get out of hand. It's part of the job, and not what many people are aware of when it comes to the insurance industry.
There is talk of women entering the profession of loss adjusting. How do you think they will fare?
You're joking, right? Next you'll be telling me Jimmy Savile's no saint. It's never going to happen.
It's not all physical training. The candidates also have classroom-based training, where they are taught how to see a peril, feel a peril, smell a peril, taste the peril, to then truly know the peril.
Right, so we've got low-level damp here, and we need to know where that pearl's come from. So everybody get down on your knees and lick that shitting wall. Alright? You're looking for nitrates or chlorides. Where's that moisture coming from?
So, boy, I'm more of an expert at making moisture. Yes.
Shut up, Jones. You're disgusting.
The recruit's target practice includes shooting at fraudulent invoice. A qualified and experienced adjuster can spot a fake VAT number from 150 yards away. Behind this closed door, the remaining candidates are being taught interrogation techniques. Unfortunately, our cameras and our crew were not permitted beyond this point. These classes, scenarios, and tests put these young men to the test. If they fall short, they will be asked to leave. But it doesn't end there, and it's still not guaranteed that they will achieve the standard required to enter the Brotherhood of Loss Adjusting. The final test comprises of 4 parts. Part 1 is selection, a 40-mile trek across the Brecon Beacons, carrying 55 pounds in weight in their burgan. The burgan consists of their rations, a selection of policy wordings, and paper files. At each checkpoint there is a property claim, and they will have to adjust within a strict time limit. Finding the right file, finding the right wording, and all the while avoiding the danger of a serious paper cut. They are greeted by a DS who's waiting for them.
I think that, the main difference with the DS, I think, is that during the early stages of selection, they're not interested in you in the slightest. They're so laid back, that they should be horizontal, but I think that they do that intentionally to give you a wrong impression of them. And walk into, give lectures with their jackets open, and smoking cigarettes, totally in military type personas they're showing you, You're just a number there, and they're not bothered whether you pass, fail, or burst into flames. It makes no, it just makes no difference to their lives. They're just going to carry on doing what they do. I've had enough stuff. Okay, get yourself in the back of the truck. It's up there, just around the corner.
Over half of the candidates have either dropped out or have been told to leave. For the rest, the injuries keep coming. But for those who do get injured, don't expect any sympathy from the DS.
I was lucky I never got a blister, but you get some blokes coming in, their toenails are hanging off, they get big blisters, and you laugh like hell. I mean, I remember there was one guy in their room, and he had the old burger rubbing his back, you're talking red flesh, and old Rusty, Rusty's yelling, he's got just the thing for you, mate, and it was white spirit, in his ear. And he's not just dabbing the guy's back, he's rubbing it, and this bloke's chewing like a stuck pig. And we're all curled up in the corner, laugh like hell.
Yeah, the Bergen was rubbing a bit, getting a bit sore, and I mentioned it to one of the DS, and he suggested a bit of white spirit, and that's done the trick, to be honest, because I'm a bit pissed now, and I can't feel my face. I can't feel anything. So...
The second test is the jungle phase.
The adjuster has to be able to survive in the urban jungle. He has to find his way around with an A to Z. He has to know where to be able to piss and shit. He has to know where it's safe to eat. In the urban jungle, everything is trying to suck the life out of you. If it's not parking tickets or speeding fines, it's the high demands on multiple serial claimants, serial complainants, and brokers who want to snap your wee head off.
The candidates are dropped off by helicopter in an unfamiliar urban jungle, with a challenging caseload, anything from arson claims to flooded shop basements. The first thing for adjuster survival, however, is to find a watering hole. At number 43 seems confident.
Right, I'm in the urban jungle. Just got dropped off by the chopper. I was able to see that approximately 7 clicks due east from here, there is a drinking establishment. So once I get some alcohol in my system, I'll be ready for anything. Yeah. Oh.
The third test flows directly from the second and can happen at any time. the loss adjuster is chased by a number of angry policyholders, brokers, and assessors. They must evade capture for as long as possible.
Shit's a brick.
If the candidate is captured, they are then placed in stress positions and shouted at by the policyholders who want their claims covered.
It's good, it's interesting until you get captured. You know what I mean? And that's when the business starts.
When you've been stuck against a wall for 6-7 hours and you get these kids sort of question you, you've got to try not to bite.
The candidates have demonstrated incredible durability physically, but now the test is one of mental toughness.
I mean, you might just walk over and punch them in the throat, but you can't, Then you get others, you want to laugh at them because they're pathetic. But you just got to keep the deadpan face and just go through it. You know yourself, you go, on another day to go, You think, oh, badge, magic, one of the boys.
A bit warmer in here, son, isn't it?
Yeah.
You okay?
Ah, what do I do?
All right, what's your number?
43.
If you come through that, you could say that all facets of your character, personality, physical build-up has been tested.
What's your first name?
Nigel.
Don't you know your first name?
Yeah, I do.
What unit are you in, son?
Adjust.
Don't you know what unit you're in?
Yeah.
Your name's Wayne, is that correct? Is your name Wayne?
No, it's not.
Well, I know your name's Wayne, why won't you tell me it? What's your name, son?
Nigel.
Don't you know your own name?
I do, yeah, it's Nigel.
Okay, I'll tell you what I've got here.
Most selections lose people who've been fit. They've gone over the Brecon Beacons, good timings, they've been in the jungle, good map reading, and then when they're pitted against an interrogator who's putting them under mental torture, they just prove too much. They blow a fuse, can't hack it, and all that they did before, waste of time. They're out of it.
I'm there, okay? Just get on with that, son.
Okay.
What's wrong, son? Can't you write?
Okay.
Can't you write? There's something wrong with you, dumb!
No.
You don't even know your name, you can't write! What do they call me, you man? What's your name? What you mean?
What?
Where do you come from?
What?
You come from Gloucester, son! I know you come from Gloucester! Sign that form!
No.
I said sign it!
You're not covered.
Can't you write, son?
You don't
Didn't you go to school? Didn't you go to school?
Get on my tits.
Do you want to go back to the compound, man? Do you want to go back to the compound?
Better than
I'm fucking sending you back to the compound anytime I want.
No.
Sign those forms.
No, you're not
Sign
covered.
them.
You're not covered.
Guards,
You're
get
not.
that piece of shit out. Heads against the wall. Are you done something? You go to school? You don't even know who you are. Where do you come from? What's your name? What's your unit? Can't you write? Can you write? Sign those forms.
You're not covered.
Sign them. Guard, get that piece of shit back to the compound. Get him out. Get him out of here, you scum.
No, sorry.
There is one final test after this, and it takes place in an underground lair, somewhere underneath the location of the original Lloyd's Coffee House, where the insurance industry started to become what it is today. What this final test is, we were not told. Again, our cameras and crew were not allowed entry. It is yet another mysterious piece of the puzzle, that is, loss adjusting. Of the entire cohort, only 2 candidates made it through, number 43, Nigel Peregrine, and number 15, Rigger Jones. These young men enter the Brotherhood of Loss Adjusting, where they shall infiltrate scenes of claims, demonstrate their skills and abilities, adjust losses, and fight on the front line of insurance. We have witnessed only a small fraction of the process at Laser, but what we have seen is enough to appreciate these extremely skilled, powerful insurance professionals who remain in the shadows, often underestimated, but fighting on the front line of insurance to protect claims costs, protect customer insurance premiums, and preventing fraudulent activity.
Shortly after this was filmed, I was asked to take part in a mission. I was dressed in black, abseiling down the outside of the shitting Iranian embassy, adjusting the shit out of it. Now the other lads throw in a flashbang, a fire starts, so I'm thinking, right, fire damage. plus water damage from the fire brigade. Then they smashed the windows, I'm thinking, right, glazing. Then they're firing bullets, and it's all kicking off while I piss about with a notepad and pen and a pissing policy wording. Fortunately, the entire operation was completed in under 11 minutes, and I was able to pretty accurately estimate the cost of repairs for the insurer. Oh yeah, and they saved most of the hostages as well. So there you have it, you see, an insight into laser. Now, not there anymore. Unfortunately, they shut it down in the mid-80s due to some sort of Ponzi regulations about mistreatment of candidates. A bloke called Roger Cook came snooping around with a camera crew. Yeah, tosser. But I hope that it gives you an insight. Every adjuster over a certain age went to laser. And he's definitely someone you do not want to piss about with. Oh yeah, he's got the grey hair and the bowling suit. Yeah, well, the king of the shitting jungle doesn't always have to roar, but he's always a shitting threat. Of course, times have changed. Started to let birds in now and all, aren't they? Birds as adjusters. Turns out sometimes they're more volatile than the blokes, actually.
Speak.
Right, so here I am down the Goose and the Gander Real Ale establishment doing my bit to help the local business the day before lockdown 2.0 kicks in. As you know, you can't go with anyone outside your household, and as I don't live with anyone, I'm here on my own. Although by complete, unexpected surprise, absolute coincidence, would you believe it? Some of the lads who I happen to know from down here also are here. They've come for a quiet drink on their own and all. Yeah, I've got Davith 6 feet away to my left. Say hello, Davith.
Hello.
And to my right, 6 feet away, I've got a bloody good darter and a seller of hooky DVDs, Budgie. It's a nickname. How's business, Budgie?
It's bloody shit, mate. Yeah. I've got a box full of DVDs in the boot. I can't shift.
What you got?
Load of superhero and action films, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Fleshlight Gordon, Triple X-Men, Womb Raider, Black Cougar, and Pump with a Vengeance.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm seeing a claim next week, right, where a young family got burgled, right? All their boys' superhero DVDs got nicked. So, yeah, it looks like Peregrine is going to cheer that young lad right up. Write me a bloody invoice, though, yeah? I'll put it through the books. Nice one. So here we are, having a few quiet jars, although we will have to be kicked out by 10 o'clock, which is why we started drinking from 3 this afternoon. Whee! On the bright side, table service now. There's a lovely new barmaid. Have you seen her? The blonde, ponytail.
Yeah, it's a bloke, mate.
You are?
Yeah, it's a bloke.
You see? Those bloody masks. Shit, Brick. What did he say? What was that?
Something about a moustache.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to say, Davith. Right, but I've got to crack on now. Right, and answer some questions put forward by the followers on the Facebook or the professional Tinder, also known as LinkedIn. Right, so I'm going to do these. I'm just going to go through and read all these questions and answer them, right? So thank you to everyone who put forward questions. Here we go. Right, Davis asks, are you still driving the Capri? Yes, I am still driving the Beast. Thank you, Davis. Still got a door that doesn't match after it got vandalised and has the car park by a disgruntled policyholder. I phoned the insurers and they said they could save more money and the environment with their new green parts scheme. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't realise it would mean having an actual shitting green door. I said, I'm not having that. And then they gave me a red one. Shame, because the rest of the car's jet black. McCaskill, which I believe is Celtic for man of skill, asks me, why? Why do we do this? And that's a good question, Manaxel. And it's a question many of us in this game ask, time and time again. Indeed, we question our life choices, but then we weren't able to do this. You know, what would be the equivalent for our unique and specialist range of skills? Probably some special forces infiltrating oil tankers and all that. I think, Muscarkle, the reason why we do this is because when you have a role that only elite-level juggernauts can do, that only elite-level juggernauts will do it, you see, simply because no one else shitting can. I mean, can you imagine some of these crumb-covered keyboard cretins trying to step up into our game? I mean, they can't even eat a bloody digestive biscuit without missing their mouths, let alone manhandle a fraudy bastard and their assessor after throwing them through a shitting patio dole. An elite role requires elite people, Madagascar. So, simple as that. Brano asks me, how'd you get mayonnaise stains out of chinos? Not a shitting clue, Brano, but is it really mayo, you dirty sod? I know what you're like. I was asked several questions by Matthews on the LinkedIn. Shit me, it was like a bloody interview. So I'm going to go through these quickly now. Right. Favourite case law, Carter versus Bowen. My insurance hero / idol. No one. Peregrine puts no one on a pedestal. Although, to be fair, Rigger Jones is the best negotiator I know. Got a big issue last week for 17 pence, which is a record. How have I survived redundancy in the current climate, given I'm on my final warning? Well, you know, I'm bloody good at my job, and they know that the insurance industry would crumble because all my followers on the LinkedIn and the Facebook would probably go on strike. It's true. Have I ever received a copy of a policy schedule or policy wording? First time when I've asked for it in the history of my career. Yes, I have. Several times. Last time wasn't that long ago, actually. I think it was August the 12th, 1998. Was I approached initially to star in that bloody Loss Adjuster film? Was I bollocks? Thank you, Kay Burley. Appreciate the keen interest. No, seriously, Matthews. Thank you very much. I hope you haven't got a basement full of black and white telephoto lens style photos of yours truly, if you know what I mean. Creswell asks if I have any tattoos. If so, where and what of? And this was followed by other comments and speculation, including Cole wanting to know if I don't have any tattoos, what would I have? And then Boone chips in, saying she has utmost good faith that she will meet me and my tattoos one day. Shit, Everett, you send someone a mug, next thing you know, they want to hunt you down and get you naked. Well, the allure of the adjuster is very tempting to the female, so I can't say I blame you. Anyway, tattoos. Now, not quite a tattoo, but certainly a permanent marking. Let me explain. I've been in this game a bloody long time. And when I got through the rigorous selection process, I had to go to a secret anointing ceremony, which included the final test. Imagine, if you will, within a hidden vault, below the location of the original Lloyd's Coffee House, within London, above the Civvies Walk, completely oblivious, whilst underneath, in the darkness, lit only by candlelight, in dark hooded robes, Lost Adjusters gather, whilst chanting Uberima Fides. The final test begins. The soon-to-be Lost Adjusters are to complete their final and most painful challenge. If they fail this, they will not be accepted. They would be banished into what could be a fate worse than death. Loss assessing. Yeah, life as a parasite. Now a cauldron is resting upon an altar. Flames lap the underneath. The cauldron is tipped over and molten metal pours into channels that flows into a metallic mould. The test is for the would-be adjuster to place their arms either side of the mould and pick it up by their forearms. Now, either side of the mould are emblems close to the adjusting community. I shall never forget the pain I experienced while being branded, and it is a harsh reminder that nothing we shall ever experience as adjusters would match that pain on that night. The smell of pork as flesh burnt. And then I pulled my arms away to reveal, on one side, a broadsword, which is also a set of scales. That being the logo of the Chartered Institution of Los Adjusters. An image that stands to remind all that we are the enforcers of fairness and indemnity. On the other arm, a crown from which an arm raises to hold a sword. That being the emblem of the Chartered Insurance Institute. The crown representing policy wording as king. The arm of the warrior holding the sword, being the insurance juggernaut not preparing to take any pissing about from policyholders, and if necessary, getting as marshal as required. Now, if you want proof, ask yourself how often do you see an older loss adjuster in short sleeves? Yeah. And also check an assessor's arms. I guarantee you will find no such branding on a parasite's arms. Of course, then things change due to someone making a personal injury claim. Nowadays, you have to take exams to qualify. As for tattoos, I considered a nice Chinese dragon across my chest, with his tail wrapping around my nipple. I thought it would be befitting of an insurance warrior and would look quite nice when I wear my silk kimono at home. But I just never got round to it. Besides, white ain't perfection, know what I mean? The last question comes from Boone, who asks for advice on how to court the lady adjuster. Right, so, have you ever heard the phrase, the female of the species is more deadlier than the male? You don't court the lady adjuster. She shall not be wooed. Let me let you in on a little behind the scenes of an adjuster firm, right? When we get together, yeah, we have a few beers, and we all like to show our party tricks, right? Excuse me. So, for instance, Kevin Butterstitch might drink 12 flaming sambucas without even blowing a flame out. Not recommended. Harry Cannon, he can eat 3 packets of pork scratchings in under 5 shitting minutes. You know, impressive, I know. Winston bath salts can eat a whole onion without crying. Then he tries to chat up the birds. Doesn't go well. But do you know what Teresa Elbow Woodchip does? She kicks a cricket bat in half with a bastard shin. That's the animal of a lady adjuster. You do not court her. She takes what she wants, and she has it. I've seen it happen in Christmas dues, you know. They'll be dancing away, oh, bit of two-step, oh, yeah, laughing, joking, oh, yeah, great ABBA, oh, yeah, love that. Then suddenly, they'll all stop, and then just survey the room, the mood, the tension in the room suddenly just increases, the mood shifts, and all the men get nervous, because suddenly the lady adjuster will make contact with a terrified male. She will point at him, and then she will shout, "You. You're coming home with me now." I've seen a bloke 6'7" looking terrified as he's being dragged off by the waistband by Camilla Rosengrab. Powerless to do anything. That's the lady adjuster. Yeah, so there you go. So thank you to everyone who contributed questions. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. More to come. So yeah, I don't get many listeners. When I asked who's interested in Series 2, I had a few responses, but not as many that'd make it worthwhile, you know. Especially considering how many bloody followers I have. So I'm doing this, right, for those hardcore followers who enjoy these. But do me a favour, yeah, spread the word for the old boy Peregrine, would you? You know, share the shit out of it, you know. Like, subscribe, comment, leave a review. It all helps me, yeah? And look after yourselves. Stay safe and well. protect those close to you. Unless it's someone breaching social distancing rules, in which case, unleash 1,000 fists of indemnity to return them from whence they came. Yeah. And as always, read your policy wording. Cheers. I'll have another ale, please, love. Sorry, mate. Yeah, it's a bloke. Yeah. You get your hair cut, mate, yeah? Shit, a brick.
Peregrine. Peregrine. Peregrine.
Making people cry. Ruining Christmas.